Hello everybody, hello grade 5. This is Mr. Samir. Today we'll study the math revision for grade 5. So let's start. First, we studied before how can we find the area of the rectangle and the square. The area of the rectangle, mister, is equal to length times width. This is the formula of the area of the rectangle. So guys, ask yourself, what's the length? Length is equal to 16. Width is equal to 3 and 1/2. To find the area of the rectangle, just multiply the length and width. So length equals 16 times mister 3 and 1/2. We can write the mixed number as a fraction. 3 times 2 equals 6 plus 1 equals 7. So we get 16 times 7 over 2. Just to cancel out common factors, 16 is divisible by 2 equals 8. Now we get 8 times 7. Equals what? Equals 56 square yard. Next, mister, find the area of the rectangle. To find the area of the rectangle, ask yourself, mister, length times width. Length equals what? Equals 7.5. Width equals what? Equals 4 meters. So the area is equal to 7.5 times 4. How can we multiply a decimal by a whole? We studied before. 4 times 5 equals 20. Write 0 and keep 2. 4 times 7 equals 28 plus 2 equals 30. But don't forget, guys, to bring down the decimal point or insert the decimal point after one digit from the right. So we get mister 30 square meter in the simplest form. So don't forget grade 5 to find the area of the rectangle. Just find the product of the two dimensions, length and width. Next, how can we find the area of the square? To find the area of the square, guys, just multiply its side length times itself. We studied before. So the area is equal to s times s. You can write it as s squared. Okay? Equals, mister, 8 and 1/2 times 8 and 1/2. We studied before how can we multiply mister a mixed number. You have to rename the mixed number as a fraction. 8 times 2 equals 16. 16 plus 1 equals 17. So we get 17 over 2 times 17 over 2. We studied before, guys, 17 times 17 is equal to 289. Over mister 2 times 2 equals 4. So you can write this mister in proper fraction as a mixed number. 28 divided by 4 equals 7. 9 divided by 4 equals 2. 2 times 4 equals 8. The remainder will be 1 over 4. So, mister, the area of the square is equal to 72 and 1 over 4 square feet. Next shape is a square. Its side length is equal to what, guys? 13.3. So, its area is equal to s times s. Its side length times itself. So it will be 13.3 times 13.3. You can multiply mister 13.3 times itself. Just multiply 133 by 133. And don't forget, guys, insert the decimal point after 2 digits from the right. We get mister the area equals what? 176. It's easy to multiply. 0.89 square meter. So don't forget to find the area of the square. Just multiply its side length times itself. Next, how can we find mister the area of a parallelogram? To find the area of the parallelogram, just multiply its base by its height. Ask yourself, the base is equal 8 centimeter. The height is a perpendicular mister segment. It's mister equal to 6 centimeter. So area equals base times the height. Base equals 8 and the height equals mister 6. 8 times 6 equals 48 square centimeter. Next, to find the area of the parallelogram, mister, just multiply its base times its height. The base is a side, so the base is equal to 9.3. The height is equal to 4.2. So we can multiply mister 9.3 times 4.2. Mister, just ignore the decimal point and multiply 93 by 42. Then mister, insert the decimal point after 2 digits from the right. So we get mister 39.06. 39.06 square meter. Next, how can we find the area of the triangle? We studied before the area of the triangle is equal to half times base times height. We studied before. But guys, I told you before, to find the area of the triangle, just multiply its base by its height. Find the product of the base and the height, mister, then divide by 2. You can use this formula, it will be easier. So area equals base times height, then divide by 2. Ask yourself, base equals what? Equals 36. Height equals what? Equals 13 centimeter or 13 meter. So the area is equal to mister 36 times 13, then divide by 2. Mister 36 is divisible by 2 equals what? Equals 18. Now we get the area in the simplest form is equal to 18 times 13. It's easy to multiply. 18 times 13 equals what? Equals 234 square meter in the simplest form. Next, to find the area of this triangle, just multiply its base by height, then divide by 2. Base equals what? 4.8. Height equals what? 3.5. So mister, multiply 4.8 times 3.5 over 2. We can note, mister, that 4.8 is divisible by 2. Divided by 2 equals 1. Divided by 2 equals 2.4. Now just multiply 2.4 by 3.5. How can we multiply? 2 decimals. Ignore the decimal point and multiply, mister, 24 by 35. But don't forget to insert the decimal point after 2 digits from the right we studied before. Now we get, mister, in the simplest form equals 8.4 square centimeter. Find the surface area of each figure. How can we find the surface area of a solid? The first solid is a cube. To find the surface area, mister, just find the area of all faces. How many faces of the cube? 6 faces we studied before. So the surface area of the cube is equal to, mister, the area of one face, which is s squared times 6. So we can write, mister, 6 times 2 squared. We studied before 2 squared equals what? Equals 2 times 2. So equals 4. 6 times 4 equals what? Equals 24 square feet in the simplest form. Next, mister, to find the surface area of the next cube. Surface area is equal to, mister, 6s squared. Ask yourself, s equals what? Equals 5 meter. Now we can write 6 times 5 squared. 6 times what? 5 squared is equal to 25. 6 times 5 equals 150 square meter. So don't forget, guys, to find the surface area or total surface area of the cube. Just find the area of one face, then multiply by 6 because we have 6 faces. Next, find the surface area of each rectangular prism. Rectangular prism, guys, so we have length, width, and height. So pay attention. Ask yourself, length equals what? Width equals what? Height equals what? Length equals, mister, 2 inch. Width equals 1.5 and the height is equal to 3. Ask yourself, the total surface area is equal to, mister, what? Yes. Length times width, then multiply by 2, plus length times height, then multiply by 2, plus, mister, width times height, then multiply by 2. This is the rule. First, mister, find 2 length times width. So we get 2 times 2 times 1.5. 2 times 2 equals 4. 4 times 1.5. 4 times 15 equals 60, and insert the decimal point, we get 6. Next, mister, 2 times length times height. So we get 2 times 2 times height equals 3. So we get 2 times 2 equals 4. 4 times 3 equals 12. Finally, mister, 2 times width times height. 2 times 1.5 times height, which is 3. 2 times 1.5 equals 3. Mental math. 3 times 3 equals 9. Now, mister, to find the total surface area, just add the 3 numbers, mister. The first one, or the first part, mister, is what? Yes, is 6. Second part is 12. Finally, we have 9. So we can write 6 plus 12 plus 9. 6 plus 12 equals 18. 18 plus 9 equals 27, mister, squared inch. This is the total area of the, mister, rectangular prism. Next cuboid, to find the total surface area, we will apply the same rule. First, guys, length equals 10 centimeter, width equals 6, and the height is equal to 8. First, 2 times length times width. So we get 2 times 10 times 6. 2 times 6 equals 12. 12 times 10 equals 120. The second part is 2 times length times height. So we get 2 times 10, mister, times 8. 2 times 8 equals 16. 16 times 10 equals 160. Finally, mister, 2 times width times height. So we get 2 times 6 times 8. Mister, 2 times 6 equals 12. 12 times 8 equals what? Yes, equals 96. You can find it mentally. Now, to find the total surface area of the cuboid of the rectangular prism, just add the three numbers 120, 160, 96. So we can write total surface area is equal to 120 plus 160 plus 96. It's equal to, mister, 376 square centimeter. So don't forget, guys, to find the total surface area of any solid. Just find the surface area, mister, of each face, then add, mister, all areas of the faces. Next, how can we find the volume of a cuboid or a cube? To find the volume, guys, just multiply length by width by height. So, mister, the general formula of the volume is equal to length times width times height. So ask yourself, look at the first one. Length equals what? Width equals what? Height equals what? The three dimensions, mister. Length equals 6. Width equals 3. Height equals 5. We can find the volume just multiplying length by width by height. So we get 6 times 3 times 5. First, mister, 6 times 5 equals 30. 30 times 3 equals 90. So we get 90 cubic centimeter. By the same way, mister, we can find the volume of the next. Length is equal to 5. Width is equal to 2. Height is equal to, mister, 4 feet. So we can write the volume is equal to length times width times height. So we get 5 times 2 times 4. 5 times 2 equals what? Yes, equals 10. 10 times 4 equals what? Yes, equals 40 cubic feet. Finally, mister, to find the volume, just multiply length by width by height. Length is equal to 28, so we can write 28 times, mister, width is equal to 14. Height is equal to 10. To multiply, mister, we get 28 times 140. Mister, 28 times 14 is equal to what? Yes, is equal to 392 first, and bring down 0, we get, mister, 3920 cubic meter. So don't forget, guys, to find the volume of the solid rectangular prism, mister, just multiply the 3 dimensions or find the product of the 3 dimensions. Next, write each algebraic expression. We have the word form of the expression. We need to write the algebraic expression. The sum of a number m and 8. Sum means what? Means add. So we can, mister, add the two numbers m and 8. So the algebraic expression is m plus 8. b 5 less than a number b. Which one is greater, mister? Is b. So 5 less than a number b, we can say find the difference between b and 5. So we can write it as b minus 5. 3 times a number z. So we can write it as 3z. Increased by 4, increased means add 4. So the expression is 3z plus 4. The quotient means divided by of a number b and 3. So write b for the first. So we can write it as b divided by 3 or b over 3. So don't forget guys, if we have a word expression, we can write the algebraic expression using the variables listed in the expression. Next, evaluate the algebraic expression when x equals 20, y equals 3, and w equals 1.25. First expression, x minus w times y. So substitute guys 20 for x. So write 20 minus w equals 1.25. Then multiply Mr. the difference by the value of y, which is 3. So multiplying by 3. First guys, ask yourself, x minus w, which is 20 minus 1.25, is equal to what? You can find it mentally. 20 minus 1 is equal to 19. 19 minus 0.25 is equal to what, Mr.? 18.75. It's easy. Times Mr. 3. Just multiply Mr. 18.75 by 3. Ignore the decimal point and multiply 3, 5, 3, 7, 3, 8, 3, 1. And don't forget to insert the decimal point after 2 digits from the right. We get Mr. 56.25 in the simplest form. Next, by the same way, cancel x and write 20. We can write Mr. 20 minus 3w means the 3 times w, which is 1.25, plus 2. First, guys, we will find the product of 3 times 1.25. We write 20 minus 3 times 5 equals 15, 3 times 2 equals 6, plus 1 equals 7, 3 times 1 equals 3. But don't forget to insert the decimal point after 2 digits from the right. Plus 2. 20 minus 3.75. First, Mr. 20 minus 3, it will be 17. 17 minus 0.75, we get Mr. 16.25. Plus what? Plus 2. In mental math, 16 plus 2 equals 18.25. So we get the value of the expression is equal to 18.25. Next, solve and check addition equation. We studied before, guys, to solve the addition equation, we will use the inverse operation. The inverse operation of addition is subtraction. So to find the value of the variable in these equations, we will use subtraction, Next, solve and check each addition equation. To solve the addition equation, we will use the inverse operation, which is subtraction. For example, n plus 14 equals 39. To find the value of n, just move 14 to the other side to be subtracted. Or you can subtract 14 of both sides. Now, we can write n equals 39 minus 14. Now, n equals 9 minus 4 equals 5. 3 minus 1 equals 2. So, n equals 25. Next, 616 is equal to m plus 125. To find the value of m, just move 125 to the other side to be subtracted. Now we can write that m is equal to 616 minus 125. We can subtract it to find the value of m. 6 minus 5 equals 1. 1 minus 2, it doesn't work. You have to regroup. It will be 11 minus 2 equals 9. 5 minus 1 equals 4. So we get 491. To find the value of y, just move 327 to the other side to be subtracted. We get y is equal to 522 minus 327. Just subtract the two numbers to find the value of y. By regrouping, we have 12 minus 5 or minus 7 equals 5. 11 minus 2 equals 9. 5 mister, it will be 4. Minus 3 equals 1. So we get 195 in the simplest form. Next, to find the value of x, 327 plus x equals 794. To find the value of x, just move 327 to be subtracted. Now we get x is equal to 794 minus 327. Mister, you have two group. Now x equals 14 minus 7 equals 7. 8 minus 2 equals 6. 7 minus 3 equals 4. So we get Mr. 467. Now to find the value of c, by the same way, move 14.81 to be subtracted. We get Mr. c equals 14.81 minus 14.81. Now, Mr. we studied before any number minus itself equals what? Equals 0. Now we get the value of c is equal to 0. Next, how can we find the value of f? By the same way, move 1.018 to be subtracted. Now we can write f equals 3.19 minus grade 5 1.018. Mister, you have to equate the decimal places and write 0, and you can subtract. It will be 10 minus 8 equals 2. 8 minus 1 equals 7. 1 minus 0 equals 1. Bring down the decimal point, and 3 minus 1 equals 2. So the value of f is equal to 2.172. Let's solve and check each subtraction equation. How can we, Mr. solve the subtraction equation? By the same way, we will use the inverse operation. The inverse operation of subtraction is addition. So to find the value of n, just move 25 to the other side to be added. Now we can write that n equals 72 plus 25, just to add. N is equal to 2 plus 5 equals 7. 7 plus 2 equals 9. Now n equals 97. Y minus 319 equals 105. To find the value of y, just move 319 to other side to be added. We can write y is equal to 105 plus Mr. 319. Just to add the two numbers, 5 plus 9 equals 14. Bring down 2. 1 plus 3 equals 4. So we get 424. To find the value of c, just move 20.5 to the other side to be added. We get c is equal to 20.5 plus 20.5. You can find it mentally. 20 plus 20 equals 40. 0.5 plus 0.5 equals 1. So we get Mr. 40 plus 1 is equal to 41. Next, to find the value of m, just move 516 to be added. We get m is equal to 219 plus Mr. 516. 9 plus 6 equals 15. 1 over 1, it will be 2 plus 1 equals 3. 2 plus 5 equals 7. So we get 735. Don't forget, guys, to solve the subtraction equation, we will use the inverse operation of subtraction, which is addition. Solve and check each multiplication equation. To solve the multiplication equation, we will use the inverse operation. The inverse operation of multiplication is division. So don't forget, guys, for y equals 124. To find the value of y, just Mr. divide both sides by 4. Now we get y equals what, Mr.? Y is equal to 124 divided by 4. You can find it mentally or by Mr. direct division. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. 4 divided by 4 equals 1. Now y equals 31. By the same way, 12k equals 24. To find the value of k, divide both sides by 12. Now we get k is equal to 24 divided by 12 equals 2. 5z equals 225. To find the value of z, divide both sides by the coefficient of z, which is 5. Now we get z is equal to 225 divided by 5. Z is equal to 22 divided by 5 equals 4. 4 times 5 equals 20. The remainder will be 2. Now we get 25 divided by 5 equals 5. Now the value of z is equal to 45. By the same way, 8x equals 64. To find the value of x, divide both sides by 8. We get Mr. x is equal to 64 divided by 8 equals 8 in the simplest form. So don't forget, guys, to solve the multiplication equation, you have to use the inverse operation, which is division. Next exercise, solve and check each division equation. To find the value, in division equation, we will use the inverse operation. The inverse operation of division is multiplication. So y over 2 is equal to 12. To find the value of y, just multiply both sides by 2 and simplify. Now we get y at the left is equal to 12 times 2. 12 times 2 equals what, Equals 24. Next, k over 10 equals 12. To find the value of k, just multiply by 10, both sides. Now simplify, we get k is equal to 12 times 10 equals what? Yes, just write 12 and bring down 0, we get 120. To find the value of x, just multiply 3 by 112 directly. We get x is equal to 3 times 112. 3 times 2 equals 6, 3 times 11 equals 33. So we get 336. To find the value of z, we will multiply both sides by 1.2. Now we get, z is equal to what? Yes, z is equal 5 times 1.2. Directly 5 times 12 equals 60. And don't forget to insert the decimal point after one digit from the right, so we get z equals 6 in the simplest form. Next, name the integers that match each point on the number line. We have a number line, 0 at the middle. At the right, we have positive integers. At the left, we have negative integers. B is what? Look at the number line and find B. Yes, you can complete 0, positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, positive 5, positive 6, positive 7, positive 8. Now B is equal to positive 7. Next, B. B, you can, complete the number line. 0, we have negative integers, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, followed by negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8. So we get negative 7. N, look at the number line and find the n. N is positive 5. What about L, Look at L, we get positive 3. Next, how can we add two integers with the same sign? To add the two integers with the same sign, or like sign, just add the two integers, then, write the same sign of the two integers. 5 plus 2 equals 7, and put the same sign. 12 plus 3 equals what? Yes, equals 15, and both the same sign, which is negative, we get negative 15. 9 plus 3 equals 12, and both the positive sign, we get positive 12. Negative 4 plus negative 15, first, add 4 plus 15 equals 4 plus 11 equals 15, and both the negative sign, we get negative 15. How can we add, two integers with unlike signs? First, find the difference between the two integers. 10 minus 4 equals 6. And put the sign of the larger one, so it will be positive 6. Next, negative 9 plus positive 2. Two integers with unlike signs. Find the difference, it will be 7. And put the sign of the larger one, it will be negative 7. Next, 9 plus negative 11. The difference between 9 and 11 is 2. And put the sign of the larger one, so it will be negative 2. Positive 7 plus negative 1. First, find the difference between 7 and 1, it will be 6, and put the sign of the larger one, so it will be positive 6. Find the difference between 13 and 17. The difference is equal to 4, and put the sign of the larger one, so it will be negative 4. 13 and 15, one is negative and the other is positive. find the difference between 13 and 15. Mister, it will be 2. And write the same sign of the larger one, so it will be positive 2. Negative 8 plus positive 2. The difference between 8 and 2 is what, guys? Is 6. And put the sign of the larger one, so it will be negative 6. Finally, how can we subtract two integers? We have two ways to subtract two integers. The first way, by using counters. You can, use counters to subtract two integers, but you can use the definition of subtraction to subtract two integers. It will be easier and faster. Negative 6 minus negative 2. We can write it as, negative 6 plus. What about the opposite of the second? It will be positive 2. Now we can add the two integers, find the difference between them, it will be 4. And put the sign of the larger one, so it will be negative 4. Positive 6 minus negative 2. Write the first as it is, it will be positive 6. Plus the opposite of the second, it will be positive 2. Positive 6 plus positive 2, it will be positive 8. Positive 6 minus positive 2. Write the first as it is, so it will be positive 6. Plus the opposite of the second, it will be negative 2. Find the difference between 6 and 2, it will be 4. And put the sign of the larger one, so it will be positive 4. Negative 6 minus positive 2. Write the first as it is, it will be negative 6. Plus, the opposite of the second, it will be negative 2. Now, add the two integers with the same sign. 6 plus 2 equals what? Yes, equals 8. And put the same sign, we get negative 8. Negative 9 minus negative 4. Write the first negative 9. Plus the opposite of the second, it will be positive 4. Now you can find the difference between 9 and 4, it will be 5. And put the sign of the larger one, it will be negative 5. Positive 9 minus negative 4. Write the first as it is, so it will be positive 9. Plus the opposite of the second, it will be positive 4. Just 9 plus 4 equals 13 with positive sign. Positive 9 minus positive 4. Write positive 9 plus the opposite of the second, it will be negative 4. Now find the difference between 9 and 4, it will be 5. Ask yourself, the larger one is positive, so we get positive 5. Negative 9 minus positive 4. Finally, write negative 9 plus the opposite of positive 4 is negative 4. Now we can add the two negative integers. 9 plus 4 equals 13, and put the same sign, it will be negative 13. Finally, if you like my video, subscribe to my channel for more math videos. Thanks for watching. See you soon, guys.